We're going to be moving into the next section, and in this section, we are going to be looking at human and AI interaction within the educational space. And this is going to be facilitated by Dr. Nazir Joseph. He's the head of department for applied information systems at University of Johannesburg. Let's give him a big round of applause as he steps to the stage and as he introduces his panelists. Dr. Joseph, come through.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing on this fine morning? Is that all I'm getting from you? How are we doing? We're talking about humans and AI here. I mean, it's a lot more than what we can actually expect, isn't it? Okay, so I'd like to introduce, there's quite a few panel members here today. This session is a little bit, going to be a bit tighter compared to the previous one. So firstly, I'd like to introduce Caroline Machika from the University of Johannesburg. She's commercial accounting. So she'll be talking about unpacking AI for teaching, learning, and research. We'll also be having Gibson Marudzi and Shepard Gliwayo, also from the University of Johannesburg, and they'll be discussing the topic, investigating the role of artificial intelligence in transforming higher educational systems in sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, so that's quite a cool one for us here local in the south. There'll also be Gilbert Machlangu and his colleague Luke Magayo. They are from, well, firstly, Gilbert, is from the Midlands State University in Zimbabwe. Luke is from the Manicaland State University from Zimbabwe as well, so they'll be providing other perspectives from sub-Saharan Africa. We have Joshua Simuka from Harare Institute of Technology, postgraduate unit of strategy and innovation, School of Business and Management Sciences of Harare in Zimbabwe. We'll also be having Kutso Mnisi from the University of Free State. My apologies, I didn't get to the topic of Joshua. He'll be discussing exploring the adoption of AI applications in Zimbabwe State Universities. Going back to Kutso Mnisi from University of Free State, his topic will be perpetual negotiation of the interplay between human and artificial intelligence, a human AI perspective. Our next panel members will be Zibusiso Zami Mpanza and Dr. Filangani Sabia and Dr. Lungile Lutuli from UNISA with their topic, Developing a Framework for Teaching, Cataloging and Classification Curriculum Using AI in Selected South African LIS Schools. And then our final panel member and final topic will be Dr. Lungile Lutuli from the University of Free State with the topic, Using Padlet to Generate Fruitful Ideas for Remote Learning. Okay, so with that mouthful, I would like to introduce, or I'd like to ask Dr. Caroline to join us on the stage here and give us a few minutes of her presentation on her topic. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. So the title of my paper is AI-Driven Learning, Assessing the Effectiveness of ChatGPT on Students' Understanding of Fundamental Auditing Concepts. What inspired this study is that the auditing industry is faced with a crisis, and this crisis is global, with South Africa not being an exception. So the crisis is that while there's a rising demand for auditors, there's also a decline in the number of people that are entering the profession, okay? So what causes this crisis, which I have established through both literature and my observation as a lecturer in auditing, is that students find the module difficult. So what they usually find difficult is understanding these fundamental auditing concepts. And this has resulted in institutions of higher learning struggling with poor academic performance in this particular module. Academic performance, mind you, has a direct impact on career choice because students tend to choose a career related to a module that they do well in, which explains the crisis I just discussed. So the role that we as educators within the field can play is to start thinking about and implementing transformative teaching methods. And these methods should specifically support a deep, comprehensive understanding of the work and therefore improve academic performance. In this way, we would be playing our role in improving or increasing the chances of our students choosing a career in auditing, okay? Speaking of teaching methods, we learn through literature that the traditional teaching methods whereby the educator merely relays information with the students passively receiving it has been criticized for its inability to support understanding, okay? What has been good and what's been praised widely by literature is what we call the inquiry-based learning. This is a more student-centered approach where the student goes and acquire or extract knowledge and information on their own. The educator just plays the role of a facilitator, facilitating the process and intervening in places where there's knowledge gaps, inaccuracies, misunderstanding, and clarifying those. What is even better is integrating the inquiry-based learning with ChatGPT, an AI tool such as ChatGPT. This model is set to foster a deeper understanding of the content, also develop critical thinking skills, and it's also very good for encouraging student engagement within a classroom, okay? So the objective of my study was to assess the effectiveness of this teaching model, which is ChatGPT integrated with inquiry-based learning on students' understanding of these fundamental auditing concepts. How I did that is I conducted a pre-assessment where I was assessing the understanding of my students, and then after that I implemented this model pretty much like what Prof. Maria was doing in the beginning, where she facilitated what it is that you need to find out from AI, and in places where there were knowledge gaps, that's where I needed to step in line with inquiry-based learning and address those, just to make sure that we are all on the same page. And then after implementing this approach, I conducted what I called a post-assessment, and assessing the very same principles. The point was to determine if there would be an improvement in the pass rate to see if the students are now understanding the concepts better. In addition to that, I let the students answer a Likert scale questionnaire where they reflect the degree to which they agree to the effectiveness of using ChatGPT in learning auditing. They also shared their experiences in their own words by responding to an open-ended questionnaire where they just discussed their experience. What you see here is a figure that shows that there was actually an increase in the number of correct answers given by the students and a drop in the number of incorrect answers from pre-assessment to post-assessment. And this clearly indicated that there was definitely some improvement in how students understood the assessed fundamental auditing concepts. This here is a representation of how students perceive the effectiveness of using ChatGPT in the classroom for learning auditing. And it shows that the majority of them do agree that using ChatGPT to learn and to be taught these fundamental concepts was indeed effective, and it enhanced their understanding. The minority of the students are those that disagree and those that are just neutral. And then from the open-ended questionnaire, we gathered the following challenges, limitations, and benefits. I believe we are familiar with them even in our own work, in research, in teaching, and all of that. So the main issues were complex language, inaccurate information, information overload, and limited information that sometimes ChatGPT provides. But fortunately, with ChatGPT, you can prompt it to simplify complex language, which some of the students were able to figure out, and through class discussions, they were able to help those that had not figured it out quite nicely. It can also be prompted to shorten overloaded information, which is something that we even experienced in my blue team with Prof. Maria's experience or experiment. But again, in line with the inquiry-based learning, I needed to step in places where there was inaccurate information, obviously, just to clarify and to make sure that we are on the same level of knowledge and that there isn't any misconception, there isn't any errors in the information taken in by the students. But besides the challenges and these limitations, the majority of the students attested that this method of learning auditing in a classroom indeed enhanced their understanding. It helped simplify the work from the textbook, which was daunting for them before this experiment. Which brings me to the conclusion of my study that integrating ChatGPT with inquiry-based learning to teach auditing is indeed effective to enhance their understanding of the work. So the study therefore recommends that educators within the field should think about doing away with traditional learning and maybe adopt the inquiry-based learning integrated with ChatGPT, and then encourage class discussions, because this is the places that allow us the opportunity to address those challenges and the limitations that we spoke to. And this brings me to my conclusion. Thank you so much.
I got a colleague over here, Joshua Samuka. Would you like to come up, since you're right here, and then we can carry on and move with the session. Thank you so much, Joshua.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here at University of Johannesburg, all the way from Harare, Zimbabwe. And my topic is exploration of the adoption of artificial intelligence applications in Zimbabwe state universities. Artificial intelligence has become a vital part of the virtual world globally. You would say institutions of higher learning are making use of artificial intelligence, and it's contributing significantly to the transformation of the higher education agenda. I would say in libraries, we are making use of Google Scholar, we are making use of digital libraries to widen our research agenda, and that's part of artificial intelligence. So you find institutions of higher learning possesses more of an interactive environment. It's an ecosystem itself, which has got students, university staff, lecturers, researchers, which make up an ecosystem. As such, it presents an interactive environment since the introduction of artificial intelligence applications. So these applications, they facilitate
Recording
a
stopped.
more engaged atmosphere in higher education, and that's we are now promoting innovation. So my study aimed to find out how university students feel about utilizing artificial intelligence applications for educational purposes. And to validate the model and assumptions, I adopted the pragmatism philosophy, which allowed the use of the mixed method research design. The conceptual model for this paper was designed on the application of technology acceptance model, and this model analyzes the intention to use artificial intelligence in higher education with much emphasis on the attitude of our students. What is the attitude of our students in trying to make use of artificial intelligence in teaching and learning? It also focuses on the confidence. What level of confidence do they have in trying to make use of artificial intelligence? And we are looking also into ease of use of artificial intelligence applications in higher education agenda. So this term model, the technology acceptance model, it provides a comprehensive framework for understanding and predicting the adoption of artificial intelligence technologies in higher education by considering ease of use, usefulness. What are the perceived benefits, perceived usefulness of different artificial intelligence technologies that we have access to? The practical implications of the current study are critical, as they encourage the appropriate educational stakeholders to recognize the relevance of every element and allow them to organize their efforts and strategic plans according to relative value that we may want to create. The managerial implications of this study, again, it provides the education sector with knowledge on how to integrate artificial intelligence applications into the system and enhance service delivery and optimize the user
Recording in
experience.
progress.
We want to optimize student experience. And now what distinguishes this study from others is its conceptual paradigm, which connects the characteristics of technology as well as student traits, their personal traits. So in terms of recommendations based on this study as we prepare for the future, educational institutions, policymakers, and educators must carefully consider how AI is used in education, how we can create value from artificial intelligence. And they must now effectively integrate AI into their learning environments. You find in the curriculum, we need to find AI being involved. So with specific to educational institutions, institutions of higher learning, they must develop a comprehensive artificial intelligence strategy to identify the potential risks involved as well as the potential benefits that can transform our higher education. Establish also ethical guidelines and outline the implementation plans. How are we going to implement a particular artificial intelligence application in our education? In addition, educational institutions must invest in training and development, training and resources to ensure educators have the skills to use artificial intelligence tools effectively in the classroom. So we also need to train the users, to train our lecturers, to train the researchers on how we can make use of artificial intelligence tools. And also we need also to promote collaboration and knowledge sharing platforms such as these to build in awareness on how we can benefit from different artificial intelligence applications. With respect to policymakers, they must develop effective guidelines for the ethical use of artificial intelligence in education. And they must also establish regulations to protect the rights and the privacy of students. This is one challenge that the world is facing in terms of rights and privacy of students. So we need to have regulations. Also, in addition, we need to invest in research and development of AI technologies, specifically targeting the educational sector. In addition, we must also make informed policy decisions to support the responsible and sustainable integration of AI in education. Then coming to one key stakeholder in higher education, who are the lecturers, researchers, teachers, educators. They must use AI tools responsibly to enhance teaching and improve student learning outcomes. So at the end of the day, we expect a positive change in terms of student learning outcome after application of artificial intelligence in education. And in addition, we also need to create more engaging and effective learning environments with a human-centric approach. When we talk of human-centric approach, we are now applying that design thinking aspects. User-centered, trying to address the needs, the different needs of our students, our stakeholders. And also foster digital literacy skills to help students understand how AI works, its potential applications and limitations. So by having clubs at universities, it actually helps to foster digital literacy skills and understand the implication of artificial intelligence, and also We need to discuss ethical considerations that are related to artificial intelligence in the classroom and encourage critical thinking and responsible decision making. Okay, so as part of my conclusion, artificial intelligence will transform education by personalizing learning experiences and enhancing our teaching practices. It addresses various challenges faced by the education sector, and it promises equal opportunities for all students through inclusive and accessible education globally, and thus contributing to the attainment of sustainable development goal number 4. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Joshua. Really appreciate that presentation. Gilbert should be present today. Is Gilbert here? Yes. Yes, please, Gilbert, come up so long so that we can prepare you for the next part. Kutso, I'm not sure if Kutso is supposed to be on. Okay, also thank you. Come up so long. And then I just want to see Dr. Lungile. Supposed to be present as well. Okay, no, that's no problem.
I'm
And then
online.
I think let's give Gilbert the opportunity, or let's go with Kutso, and then you can keep the ball rolling with us. Thank you so much, Kutso. Would you like to put up your hand?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kutso Mnisi from the University of the Free State, an alumni of the University of Johannesburg. So if you see me performing today, just know that I'm looking for employment back at home. All right, I'm looking at perpetual negotiation in the interplay between human and artificial intelligence. The gist of this paper, I'm just going to skip direct to it because I'm told that I have 5 minutes. Okay, I don't want to keep you here for long. Okay, is it humans versus AI or human and AI? And I'm looking at the perceptions of lecturers and curriculum designers from the University of the Free State and existing data from literature. So most are saying that the currency, which is the academic currency of a university, is at stake because of artificial intelligence. This was looked at as something that is a threat to education. And some were saying that the generative AI is simply too artificial. There's no human element there. And then the cognitive overload, because the information may be too much on students and the general users. And developers of these tools often have goals outside of the academic space. They are not really designing these tools just because they want you to teach better in the classroom. They are designing it because they want to have some form of monetary value attached to it. They are not, sometimes they're not self-aware. They're not aware of their own shortfalls. They're not aware of the things that they can do and not do. They are sometimes biased. And we know the psychological implications associated with using AI. The behavior of the users changes, the emotions, and sometimes dizziness. Okay, I'm going to skip this one because everyone else is skipping it. So humans competing with artificial intelligence and looking for ways to outsmart AI is a futile exercise. So that's why I'm saying human versus AI or human and AI.
Recording
So
stopped.
I am saying human and AI, okay? I'm saying these two realities can coexist and none of, well, there is a threat to some aspects of humanity, but I'm sure there are ways we can work together with AI. And that's why the gist was finding a balance on equilibrium where we can find each other with these tools. We should, academics and curriculum designers should redesign their curriculum, continuously reflect on what we are teaching and see if it's relevant in the 21st century. We spoke a lot in 2018. I remember Prof. Marol was speaking about the fourth industrial revolution, and that's where we are now, and I'm surprised that people are shocked. because some of the universities were saying that they are leading this conversation of the fourth industrial revolution. But also multidisciplinary tasks are very important. The world does not come to your student in a phase of geology or biochemistry. It comes in different forms, so multidisciplinary. And there's very powerful knowledge that can be found on the tasks that are associated with multidisciplinarity. You'd find out that the students actually learn more on their own with regards to different disciplines than they are learning with regards to your own specific discipline that you are teaching in a classroom. So interdisciplinary as well is very important. This means that assessments need to be authentic. So if you are going to always quiz the students and give them an exam where they have to guess true or false, multiple choice questions, multiple answers, it's a futile exercise because they can easily generate that through AI. But if you give them something authentic where they can apply this knowledge in real time, that is going to be very effective teaching. And a possible balance is that the one thing we need to note is that curriculum relevance would be one of the issues, because if you teach according to change, you will always have to renew your curriculum. And that is a very intensive exercise that you'll need to be engaged in. You must use this tool to enhance critical thinking, not only to get responses from the tool, but also to have that kind of deep learning that you want to cultivate in your students. And you need to have prompting engineering skills. The answers that these tools are giving you are answers that are based on the question that you asked. So if you ask a basic question, it will give you a basic answer. But if you give it more prompts to generate answers, it will give you a more balanced and effective answer. While it is easy to just use any digital tool, it is scholarly incorrect and impractical to want to use generative AI for everything and for anything and everything. We must agree that we can't now say that just because there's generative AI, we must abandon all our practices. We can't do that because these tools do not solve the complex educational crisis that we have in developing countries. I've said that you need to have challenge-based inquiries where you allow your students to apply this knowledge in real time, where there are tasks that are given to students where they have to apply knowledge instead of quizzing them every time. So my conclusion is that assessment, we need to look, I'm recommending that we need to look at assessment as evidence of learning and teaching, and evidence that you as a lecturer have taught and the student has gained the necessary knowledge. You need to continuously renew your curriculum. I've spoken about interdisciplinary approaches, prompt engineering, and also one thing that you need to be cognizant of is that there is a lack of contextualization in how AI is used. It's not going to solve all our complex problems. It's like we are using this thing in general, in generic terms, but you need to be
Recording
contextual
in
when
progress.
you are using it. Some argue that there's diminutive evidence to suggest that AI can boost academic performance. If you are saying that your students got 10 out of 10 by using ChatGPT, and they also got 10 out of 10 by not using ChatGPT, does it really enhance learning? No, it doesn't. So you have to ask yourself those questions, not just be happy because you're using that tool. AI should not be treated as the sole solution to the complex educational challenges. There's more deeper challenges than prompt engineering and quizzing your students. Our education system is not going to be fixed through the use of AI. It is a step in the right direction. However, you need to be cognizant of the fact that our educational challenges are very, very much complex. These are the references. I think I'm the first one to give you references, and then thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. And we are in the library environment. I think references are very important, isn't it? Okay. If I may ask Gilbert, please come up and give us your presentation on your topic.
My name is Gilbert Mahlangu from the Michigan State University, Gweru, which is located at the center of the landlocked country. I'm sure you know the name there. Okay, our title is Enhancing Collaboration Learning Experiences through Human AI Interaction on the Classroom. We did a systematic literature review so that at the very least we try to give pointers on how future research should look like, and at the same time trying to take stock of what we already know about collaborative learning that is supported by AI. This study resonates well with the three paradigms of AI in education. Paradigm one talks about AI-directed learning, where a learner is regarded as a recipient. Paradigm two talks about AI-supported, where the learner in this case is a collaborator. Then paradigm number three talks about AI-empowered, where the learner in this case is empowered to use these tools to facilitate collaboration learning. He becomes sort of like a leader during the process. And as well, I'm sure this study also rides on what my sister, I've forgotten your name, you talked about moving away from traditional way of doing things as far as pedagogy is concerned. We're simply saying collaboration learning as an experience. It refers to activities and also in the environment where students, they work in groups. During the process, they try to share ideas, think critically, so that they become pragmatic in solving problems. They become active during the learning process. They also engage with each other. They provide each other what we call peer support learning. They also get the support from the educators. Our critical argument during this study, we found that AI or AI in education is gaining more interest, but literature is lacking in terms of how human AI interaction can enhance collaborative learning experience in the classroom. So this is our major argument in this paper. Then the main objective was to conduct a systematic literature review so that we understand the current state of affairs as far as AI-powered tools and technologies are enhancing collaborative learning in the classroom. The classroom, in this case, we are talking about both physical and virtual classroom. So we just left the word classroom opened deliberate so that we don't confine our study on one part of the classroom. Then the major questions here which directed our study is the first one. We are looking at the opportunities. This question asked how can AI-powered tools and technology support and enhance the key mechanism for collaborative. We appreciate that collaborative learning is there, and it has been there for quite a time. But in this case, how can AI enhance this collaborative learning? How can AI take it to another level, moving away from traditional pedagogy to a more advanced learning style that speaks to the 21st century skills? Then the other question seeks to look at the challenges of AI, AI interacted support collaborative learning, because here we're seeing that human AI is creating what we call a paradox, in the sense that there are opportunities and there are also challenges. Some of the challenges, I'm sure other speakers, they talked about them. The issue of trust in education. Learners, they are using, I think they are using AI more to cheat, more to to promote cheating than enhancing the skills of the 21st century. Then we also want to look at the implications to say, at the end of the day, what is the take home for educators, for designers, and also for researchers, because we want to advance two strands here. the pragmatic approach in terms of implementing these tools, and also the theoretical understanding of how can AI enhance collaborative learning. We did our study guided by the PRISMA methodology, where we tried to conduct our literature from high quality databases. Then we did some screening based on the inclusion and exclusion criteria. One of the criteria was that the study was supposed to talk about AI technology, AI-based tools, and this study was supposed to be between 2002 and 2024. I'm sure you're already asking yourself to say, why 2002? Why 2002? Yes, I think that's when we saw the diffusion of technology, not specifically AI in technology, but technology as far as collaborative learning is concerned. Then we tried to also to be guided by search terms, so that we try to be as wide as possible, but at the same time sticking to our focus area. So those are the terms that we use: the collaborative learning, human AI interaction, AI supported learning, and classroom technology, so that we understand how is collaborative learning being supported by technology there. I've covered that. Then our results, through our inclusion criteria, quality assessment, we managed to come up with 45 articles, not directly speaking to AI interactive tools, but trying to give us an understanding and a foundation on how we can move this topic forward. Then through thematic and also narrative analysis, we tried to come up with the 7 mechanisms that promotes collaborative learning as far as AI is concerned. So these are acting as opportunities. We have communication, coordination, knowledge sharing. Students, they share knowledge among themselves through peer support. They also construct ideas using the interpretive approach. They are also trained to be critical thinkers and also problem solving. Then there's also peer learning, there's also motivation, and that continuous engagement of learning material. Then in terms of challenges, trust, transparency, as I said earlier on, that I've seen students using AI to become the masters as far as cheating in academic is concerned. It's a struggle that most of us academics are facing. These guys, because they have got an advantage by default, being AMA 2000, I'm sure you've read that. They are well advanced in terms of technology. So yes, we need to work hard. We need to think deep and try to solve this challenge. Then the implications to educators. We're saying educators should select and integrate AI supporting tools that promote an environment which drives collaborative learning. While instructional designers, they look at developing tools that seamlessly integrate with the best practices of pedagogy. Then researchers, I'm sure that's the majority here, you are expected to find more knowledge or novel ideas as far as the long-term impact of human interaction as far as learning experience is concerned. So I think with this view, that's the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gilbert. Really appreciate it. Okay, I think in the essence of time, I would like to, and the technical challenges that we're facing with our online colleagues, I would actually like to open up the floor for questions that our panel members could potentially answer for you. So perhaps Any questions that we would like to ask our panel members, or anything coming online that we would like to pose to our panel members, please? We have a question over here. And Prof. Maria? And over here, thank you. Let's take these 3 questions, starting from the end here.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, to the presenter. So I wanted to ask, now how we gonna point guard our students, especially with the cross education monitoring systems. This is a sustainable development gems. I think the quality education gem number 4. With the issue of this build AI, sometimes it has its effect like we build it to a student curriculum and it becomes a less artificial and more intelligent student we want to bring out of this versus the more artificial and less intelligent student we want to bring out of this. So yeah, LA could be a country, a city. Mali could be a country or a currency, sorry. Now is the city LA a student or Mali the country a student, or we want to build a Malibu? Thank you very much.
Learning, a very fascinating study, and I know some presenters also touched on the whole question of assessment when we deal with ChatGPT. I wondered in your assess learning, you teaching strategy.
Any more questions? One going, one. Oh, there you are. For it.
Hi. So, thank you to all the presenters for.
Recording stopped.
So thank you to all the presenters for great papers. They were really interesting. I would like to ask, how did you find students not using AI platforms before you began? So I think maybe Caroline, this is very specifically to you. But I think to the other presenters as well, because in different ways you were looking at how people use, and if we're talking about students cheating, they obviously know how to use these platforms. So maybe if we could just unpack a little bit more the different abilities that students have around AI.
I don't think it's on. Oh, okay. So to the first question, the manner in which I assessed the students was not a formal assessment type situation. And I think this speaks to the limitations of my study. So my study was limited to a classroom context where after I implemented this model, I then did an informal assessment to see if they improved in their understanding. Does that answer? Okay, I think I should also just move to Prof. Maria's question. Please remind me.
Students' abilities.
Okay, yes.
All the same. Was that a problem?
Yeah, so we did encounter a little bit of a challenge. So before I actually started this, I had a 2 minutes conversation with them. So fortunately for me, it was not such a big class, and they were not so shy in this particular class. So I asked them if they are familiar with ChatGPT. The majority was. We also did chat about how they feel about using it, and some of them were saying, I try to stay away from it, I don't trust it, I'm not sure what this is. So we also had a debate type of a conversation where some students were talking about the upsides of it and the downsides of it before we actually started using it. But generally speaking, they were already familiar with it.
Okay, thank you. Just also to add, there was also another challenge of accessibility issues. I had also a chance to interact with the students.
Recording
with,
in
disabilities.
progress.
And it emerged from the study that some of the AI-powered tools and platforms may not be designed with all students in mind, leading to accessibility issues for students with disabilities. So it is essential to consider accessibility issues to consider accessibility from the early stages of development as we develop new artificial intelligence applications. Let us consider that there are also students with disabilities. Thank you.
I apologize, I didn't really get that question, but so I'll respond to Prof's question. So students have been cheating since the beginning of humanity. I'm speaking about the students at the University of the Free State. Please don't apply this in your own context. Do your research. So there's something called washing. So students take information from ChatGPT. They are very advanced. They take information from ChatGPT, they put it in another tool called Perplexity, and then from Perplexity to Quillbot to paraphrase, from paraphrasing to Word document and upload on Blackboard to you to mark. So you can see that the skills are there, but obviously that's the biggest concern for me. If you're saying we must use it ethically, how? Because these students know how to use these tools. They can connect the ideas behind these tools. They know that this tool is connected to this one is connected to this one. Even if you can give them images, because some were saying that give students image like questions. Students can use another tool called Copilot. They upload that particular image or diagram. Copilot describes that image for them, gives them all the descriptions and terms for everything that is in that image. So students, I think, are in my context, are more advanced than lecturers, because lecturers are now starting to be, sort of not wanting to use this tool. Yet students are using it. Students are able to also cheat, turn it in. They know how to turn it in, not detect plagiarism. I've experienced that a lot of times. And I'm sure you have given the students 80 and 90s, not knowing that there's something that they did in a Word document. Because you don't want to use these technologies. And they are using them. It's called washing. So the skills and abilities of students at the University of the Free State, I think is very, very high. In fact, from undergraduate, you see they are ready. They know what they're there to do. And they're going to obtain that degree come hell or high waters.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's give a big hand to our panel members. And yes, thank you, everybody. We'll move on now to the next part of the schedule.